Baer, let's make sure. I'm pretty sure.
We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Please know that if you are seated along the outside of the room, that is where the judges will come through. So please keep your feet tucked under you. Thank you.
All rise. Superior Court for the State of Washington en banc, the Honorable Paul W. Thompson presiding.
Please be seated, everyone. And good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure. I am very excited to be presiding over the investiture of our newest judge, Judge Jehiel Baer. And I do have just a couple comments before we get going. I do want to acknowledge all of our judges who are present, but Judge Baer, I met him about a year ago. I did not know him. What I was really struck with as he was seeking this position is just how thoughtful he was. After our first meeting, I just really thought that he would add a lot to our bench. It's a different perspective. He well knows, at least it was my assessment, of why he wanted the position and why he wanted to serve his community of Snohomish County. So I just really am excited to be here. I'm excited to preside over this ceremony. I do want to acknowledge our visiting judges and then also our judges from our local benches based on, or our local bench based on history. I will not be turning side to side to figure out where they are. I always seem to turn the wrong way. So I'm just going to assume that they will give some sort of wave. So I do want to acknowledge first our U.S. District Court judges from the federal bench, Judge Kimberly Evison, Judge Tana Lynn, Court of Appeals judges, Judge Linda Coburn, Judge Michael Diaz. From our local Superior Court bench, Bruce Weiss, George Apple, Richard Okrent, Cindy Larson, Anna Alexander, Adiran Okoliko, Karen Moore, John Scott, William Steffner, Whitney Rivera, our most recent newest judge, Judge Nelson, Commissioner Harness, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Kim, from King County, Judge David Keenan, from our District Court, Judge Jennifer Millette, and Commissioner Sugg. Also, I believe I saw her sneak in. I do want to acknowledge our elected officials. I believe Heidi Percy, our court clerk. Great, thank you in the back there. Also, I would like to acknowledge, and clearly no one gets to this position without the support of their family and friends. Judge Baer has with him several family members, several friends. I would like to acknowledge his wife, Lisa Baer, and his children. They are here for this ceremony. Also his parents, Lawrence and Muriel Baer. I believe Steve and Kyoko Fuller, his parents-in-law over here, and then John Fuller. And I see a young one raising their hand and an older person. So I assume it's the taller person over there. And Judge Baer did want to have a few people speak on his behalf. I believe it's Curtis Isaki. So, sir, if you'd like to come up here. And if you could just briefly introduce yourself and then whatever remarks you have.
I think I can do that. I'm Curtis Isaki. I worked with, can everyone in the back hear me? All right, okay. Should I use this here? That makes more sense. So I'm Curtis Isaki. I worked with Jehiel for 6 years at the law firm McNall Ebel in Seattle. And I'm proud to be with you all today for this significant milestone in Jehiel's career. Now, like I mentioned, I worked with him for 6 years, and 6 years is a long time, particularly at that period of our life. It was a formative time. We went through a lot of things together and developed as attorneys together. But to work with Jehiel for any amount of time is to leave with a lifetime of admiration for the work ethic, the principles, and the person that is Jehiel Baer. He joined the firm shortly after I did. Actually, I realized today it was a year after I did, but maybe that first year was just a dark period that I don't like to think about. And he was a young lawyer at the time. You know, from my vantage, he had a lot to learn, and I was going to be there to mentor and nurture him, kind of like a work little brother, even though he was taller and better at more things than me. But I very quickly discovered that I had as much, if not more, to learn from JL as he did from me. And the thing that comes to mind first and foremost about JL is his earnest, service-minded nature. He's always thinking about what he can do to help others. And that mindset served his clients at the firm well. There were no limits to his dedication. When others would cut a night short or give up entirely, JL was relentless in his work ethic. I can think of a couple clients that come to mind immediately that he served for years that probably owe their livelihood these days to JL. And it also served our firm. It was a place and a culture that he helped build. With a touch of levity, JL was widely adored at the firm, partially for his warm and pleasant disposition, but also for his all too frequent all-firm reply-alls. And most importantly, for the bagels he would bring every year on the anniversary of his hiring date. While others at McNall might have thought McNall should be happy to even have them in the first place, and we certainly were in JL's case, JL viewed it differently. He was honored to contribute and continue to build something, and he did that the best way he knew how, and that was with bagels. But above and beyond the dedication to his clients and his firm, the reason we're here today, JL's North Star has always been public service. And we knew that was a formative dream for a JL was to be a JAG. And the only reason he didn't end up doing that, well, it's not because he watched too much TV as a kid, is my understanding. It was a genuine desire. And the only reason he didn't end up there was eyesight concerns. But we knew public service was always going to be, you know, where he would end up at the end of the day. And so when, you know, 6 years ago, he told us that he was going to be departing for a position at the U.S. Attorney's Office, it just made too much sense. JL's an earnest, fair-minded, hardworking, and intelligent man. He had all the qualities you could want in a prosecutor. As an aside, though, as I'm thinking about it, he worked at McNall for 6 years, worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office for 6 years. Maybe he's just got a 6-year shelf life at his job, so let's keep that in mind. But the same qualities will make him a terrific judge. And honestly, if he can run a courtroom half as well as his daughter Nava orchestrated this front row to get everyone in order, we'll all be well served. At a time when many might wonder whether any good news can come out of government anymore, when JL told me the good news about his appointment, it was a welcome reminder that wise and deserving decisions are still possible. So with all that said, I'd just like to congratulate JL and his family, Lisa, Nava, Amos, and Eli. And on behalf of myself and just a host of colleagues from his time at McNall Ebel, which really just speaks to the person JL is, we're so happy for you all. And we're proud of all you've achieved. And we look forward to this next chapter. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, Krista Bush.
Thank you. And avoid tripping over this. It is so nice to see such a full room here to honor JL Baer. I'm Krista Bush. I was one of the forfeiture AUSAs at the Department of Justice with JL. And I have to tell you that we are all in mourning right now. We miss him so very much, and he's been gone for like 20 minutes. But I will say that I couldn't be happier for the bench of Snohomish County. I practiced up here for years before going to the Department of Justice, and I know what a fantastic jurisdiction this is and how well it is run. And I know that JL will be a perfect addition to the bench. There is nobody who, in my experience at the U.S. Attorney's Office, took more to heart than the words JL Baer for the United States of America. And I know that he will bring that same dedication to his position as a judge and we will all be better served for it. And we too will miss the bagels desperately. So congratulations. I won't hold anything up any further. Thank you.
And I believe Lawrence and Mario Baer.
This here. Well, together with my wife, standing before you is a 74-year-old grandfather in one of the proudest moments of his life. And I feel my job in the next few minutes is to help you understand how tremendously fortunate you are to welcome Jehiel Baer as your newest Superior Court judge here in Snohomish County. Jehiel is virtually never angry. Virtually. He is extremely kind, respectful, and considerate of other people's feelings. From his earliest age, he always had a smile on his face. When he received his appointment from Governor Ferguson, Muriel and I wanted to offer him a congratulatory gift for his desk. We sent him pictures of Lady Justice, either as a statue or just a head and torso fully dressed, of course. He wrote back that it might be uncomfortable for a female clerk to see a sculpture of even just a woman's head on his desk. Instead, he selected a simple model of Justice's scales. His essay for his college applications reflected one of his core principles in life. He wrote eloquently, even as a high school senior, that true leadership needed to come from underneath, as a servant and collaboratively, rather than from a position of authority. That conviction has brought him great success throughout his life, even as he has actively avoided self-promotion. Jehiel works with incredible diligence to overcome whatever obstacles he faces. He was never the best runner in school, landing on his heels rather than the front of his feet. But he worked hard and encouraged his fellow team members, and he was selected as the captain for both his track and cross-country teams. He and Lisa still enjoy running together, and they're leaving tomorrow to participate in the challenging Hood to Coast relay race. Sticking with his high school, Jehiel was the leader of his school's barbershop quartet and worked hard at the saxophone. He was awarded the coveted Louis Armstrong Soloist Award. He loved music, and he was loved by his fellow classmates. Every year, the varsity football coach organized a school-wide election for the homecoming king. Jehiel won. The coach, incensed that perhaps for the first time it might not be a football player elected, demanded that the elections be held again. Jehiel won again. And he continued to enjoy music throughout college and law school, playing in the non-music major jazz band at Maryland and helping to lead the NYU Law Review, that's spelled R-E-V-U-E, where he helped to compose musicals celebrating the unique qualities of the NYU law faculty. Jehiel overcame another significant challenge in his life, his poor eyesight. They barely make contact lenses strong enough to correct his vision. Hence, you'll often see him with very thick glasses. As a highly successful attorney, he is necessarily a studious reader of incredibly dense books. His final year at law school, he applied to become a JAG officer, as you heard, and was accepted, receiving a waiver for his uncompliant eyes. However, at the last moment, that waiver was revoked. A serious loss for the JAG Corps, but a great windfall for Snohomish County. Jehiel deeply loves his country. He believes in our laws and systems of governance and is truly apolitical. He served for 2 years after law school as the Homeland Security Fellow for Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York. He has served with great distinction as an assistant U.S. attorney for both the Biden and Trump administrations. After marrying his beautiful wife, Lisa, He moved to Snohomish County and started a new career as a litigator, where not surprisingly, he was recognized as one of the top 100 litigators under 40 years old. And with success as a litigator comes a very good salary. Jehiel could have had a very comfortable career as a litigator and raising an amazing family, except for one thing. He has a very deep sense of conscience. He confided in me, "Dad, I don't really enjoy helping rich people get money from other rich people." I appreciate that, Jay. What would you rather be doing? I'd like to be a judge. I feel that's a place I could really help people. That's value I can bring. So he took a massive pay cut and worked diligently as an AUSA, hoping in maybe 10 years that an opportunity might open up. It came much sooner than that. Jehiel is not the guy who shows up at public events working the room. He lives a more private life. He has a small circle of friends, many of whom have been friends for life. He is fiercely loyal and dedicated to his family and siblings, both his birth family and his in-law family, and to his latest rescue dog, Bliss. He's a natural mentor, mediator, and volunteer. He is incredibly devoted as a husband and father, and he's a proud Eagle Scout, and he loves hiking in nature. And there can be no doubt that he will be a stellar addition to the venerable bench of the Snohomish County Superior Court. Congratulations, Jay, and congratulations, Snohomish County.
Mine's really short, but also Jay makes his own bagels. So I don't know if he ever brought his homemade bagels, not sure. But I am Jay's mom, and I'm so proud of Jay's achievement and his appointment to the justice position by Governor Ferguson. And as mentioned, this has been one of Jay's goals, and he has accomplished it, which is like tremendous for a mom. You know, I know he will make a terrific judge because I believe he's qualified in education and character. He's noble and ethical. He's trustworthy. But don't cry. He has integrity, and he has a brilliant mind and a brilliant heart. I was going to say, along with a great heart, sorry. He understands the enormity of the position that he's just, acquired. So Jay has always strived for the advancement of a better world, and his motives in life have constantly been to build and help and mold a better world and society and community as an Eagle Scout also. So Jay has a great capacity to do good for the state of Maryland.
Washington.
And, I'm sorry. Sorry, I just
But
came.
he did a lot of good in Maryland too.
Right. It was good to laugh anyway, but we just came from Maryland, so I'm so sorry. But it says Washington here, I don't know. So, and the state is very lucky to have him as a judge. So I'm very grateful and proud as his mother. Thank you.
And Judge Baer, at this time, I will administer the oath, and I will actually come around to do that. Jehiel Baer, do solemnly swear. I, Jehiel Baer, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, and I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington, and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington, that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge, the office of Superior Court Judge, according to the law and to the best of my ability. According to the law and to the best of my ability. Congratulations. And at this time, this is the robing. So Judge Baer, it is my understanding, your wife, Lisa,
When we told our eldest kid, our daughter, that part of the investiture ceremony would involve me getting a robe, she was so excited. She wanted to wear her Harry Potter robe to the event. I had to tell her no, and it broke my heart as a dad. But when I thought about it, I realized it's probably good training, because I think, as I understand it, part of a judge's responsibilities is to shoot down ridiculous ideas or suggestions from litigants. So it was good practice. Thank you, everyone, for coming and for showing your support. To borrow a phrase that I learned on LinkedIn, I'm honored and humbled to have been given this tremendous responsibility. But I really am humbled, and more recent professional aspirations notwithstanding. I wasn't one of those kids that grew up knowing they were going to become a lawyer, let alone a judge. Heck, I don't even think I ever met another lawyer until more than halfway through college, and that was only by accident. In college, I had much bigger plans. I was going to be a server at Applebee's. You know, after working for a couple of years painting houses, my friends convinced me that I would be much better off waiting tables. And it just so happened that the Applebee's across the street from college had a couple openings, and a few of my friends worked there, so I was practically a shoo-in. And when I went there, the manager told me, sure, yeah, I'll give you a job, but first you got to take this Myers-Briggs personality test. It's just a formality. And so I took the test and waited around for about 10 minutes for the manager to come back and shake my hand and give me the paperwork, but instead he walked in kind of sheepishly and said, I'm sorry, I can't hire you. Your personality profile doesn't match our corporate profile. True story. I guess I was too honest or too independent or something. So I walked despondently to our Office of Career Services and said, I need a job. Do you have anything? And they said, well, there's this student paralegal position at the Department of Justice that closed like a week ago. You could try that. So I applied, and I got the job, and that was the start of my legal career. So I learned, I think, an incredible lesson from that, which is that adversity and opportunity are often two sides of the same coin. And look, I get it. Getting rejected by Applebee's isn't exactly very high on the adversity scale, but for a poor college student, it was a big deal. And it ultimately made way for an amazing opportunity for me. The Department of Justice is where I learned to love the law and the judicial process. And if not for that, I wouldn't have gone to law school. I wouldn't have probably met my amazing wife, Lisa. I wouldn't have had her incredible kids. I wouldn't have ended up here in Snohomish County, and I wouldn't be standing before you all. And that lesson has repeated itself throughout my life. Another example is COVID, and I know lockdowns were hard for a lot of people. They were hard for us. Our second child, our older son, was born 3 weeks into the lockdowns, and that isolation was really oppressive, and not being able to take our newborn outside out of fear of him contracting some fatal disease. But it was in that isolation that I finally felt the nudge to get back to my roots of public service. I had been working at McNall-Ebel, an incredible firm with brilliant trial lawyers and who were also really great people. And those people made it really hard to leave. So when I found myself in my basement working on a computer, as many people were, that was sort of that good push to get me to apply to the U.S. Attorney's Office, which I had been putting off, and got the job and got the chance to work with some incredible colleagues there too. But I think this idea that adversity and opportunity are two sides of the same coin, I think it applies not just to individuals or to professional careers, but it applies to institutions as well. And I think the court is a really good example of that. I mean, most people that are interacting with the court aren't doing so because they want to be there. Usually they're facing some sort of adversity, whether it's civil parties or criminal defendants, victims, minor children. But where the court is run efficiently and effectively, like our amazing court is here, where the parties are represented by dedicated and diligent attorneys, where the judges bring a level of independence and intellectual honesty and empathy, and where the judicial process includes meaningful alternate paths to achieving justice. And I think the adversity that people are experiencing when they interact with court can make way for opportunity. And it could be something as simple as closure or a new start. It could be as simple as getting a chance to tell one story or receiving some much needed intervention. So I'm incredibly grateful. Dare I say, I am honored and humbled to get to be a part of that process. So I want to thank everyone for being here, for showing your support, the amazing judges that we have on our federal, state, and local benches, my former colleagues and opposing counsel, my neighbors, members of the bar, my friends, my amazing family, and most of all, I want to thank Applebee's, without which none of this would have ever been possible. There is a reception afterwards, so please stick around.
And Judge Baer, actually, I believe if you could take a seat down on the end here. And Judge Baer, could you remind everyone where the reception is? So I'm hearing 1611 Everett Avenue. So thank you everyone for being here. Again, this is really exciting day for Judge Baer, obviously his family, and it's an exciting day for us. And I really just do want to thank all of you for being here and being a part of this day. And at this point, we are adjourned.
All rise.